The current food system is responsible for approximately 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. In the Highlands, we can often feel far away from the global emissions associated with intensive croplands, forest clearance, and industrial agriculture. And despite the fact that much of the emissions are happening overseas, they are part and parcel of the globalised food system that we all currently buy into. The increased exposure to extreme climatic events is impacting global food production. This has a knock-on effect on the volatility of the global commodity market, supply chains, and the cost of food. More than ever, a diverse, resilient, and local food system is needed. The way in which we are producing our food is seriously affecting global and local biodiversity. Land use change is wiping out natural ecosystems, and the removal of wildlife corridors is significantly reducing the refuge space for wild species. Pesticide, fungicide, herbicide and fertilizer use is significantly reducing the number of insects in soil, bees and butterflies to pollinate plants. Many populations are at a critical level. While our food is predominantly produced in a way that damages the environment, so too is it damaging our health. Dietary-related illness is at an all-time high, and unhealthy food is often cheaper to buy, while good, healthy, organic options are lower in quantity and higher in price. Good, healthy food should be something that people feel they have the right to access, like fresh air and clean water. We need to work on many levels to achieve the changes to the current food system, because we simply cannot afford the one we've got. Highland Council have recently signed the Glasgow Food and Climate Declaration, showing their commitment to work on a subnational level to tackle the climate and nature emergencies with sustainable and just food policies. We're excited to work with Highland Council to realise this, whether it's through improving allotments and access, improving the procurement system to provide local food in local schools, or supporting local producers and food businesses to improve our local food system. In this video, you'll hear from a number of people involved in the Highland Good Food Partnership. Jose will tell us about our contributions to COP. Angus is going to talk a little bit about the Greenhouse Project Group. And greenhouses in the Highland could improve our local food system significantly. They improve availability, they can lengthen the growing season while reducing the Highlands' reliance on imports from Europe or further afield. This is an important aspect to consider as part of the Highlands' plans for climate adaptation, as many areas where produce is sourced will be affected by climate crisis effects, such as drought, flooding and heat waves. Elle gives us a really positive insight into community food and the benefits it can bring to communities and to people's health and well-being. And finally, Tanya Aliod speaks on behalf of the Circular Economy and Food Waste Group, sharing their vision so far and the benefits of converting food waste into useful composts or animal feeds and the carbon emissions saved in doing so.
People's reactions to the climate emergency tend to swing between the macro scale of COP26 and the micro scale of recycling. Community food provides the place between, where individuals can come together to make real positive change bigger than their own household. Through community food, we can feel connected to our land, ourselves, our wider community, and the bigger scale of global climate action. It's a perfect vehicle for a systems-based approach to tackling the diverse health and environmental challenges we face as a nation. There are amazing community food initiatives all through the Highlands. Community gardens like this one, markets, gatherings, fridges, education, orchards. The COVID pandemic has highlighted that communities with these existing strong networks are resilient and agile. We're better able to look after our people in the face of a crisis. Everybody eats, so it's a way to engage all members of a community equally. At its heart, community food is a practice of sharing. Food, seeds, conversations, skills, responsibility, vision. We grow culture as well as carrots. What if every community in the Highlands had this? What if every Highland child grew up taking it as normal that we share food together, that every person has a right to food that is good for them and good for the planet? What can you do to make it happen?
Highland Good Food Partnership have been taking part in Nourish Scotland's local Farm to Farm dialogues. These local dialogues have been taking place in 20 communities across the 4 continents. Their aim is to bring together farmers and city people, namely policymakers, to build relationships and trust so that the voices of farmers are no longer absent from policy discussions. On November the 5th at COP26, Nourish will host the Global Fork to Farm Dialogue, bringing together 100 farmers and 100 local government representatives from across the world. Highland Good Food Partnership will have participants tuning in from the Highlands to take part. This day is about frank discussions and learning, not only between farmers and local government, but between all participants from across the world. This collaborative approach is at the heart of the way we work, and we look forward to everything we will learn to continue working on this project beyond COP26, to continue encouraging everyone to work together to make the changes we need for food and climate.
My name is Angus Marland. We've been exploring controlled environment agriculture, abbreviated to CEA, a group of technologies which is already fairly well developed in Canada and Scandinavia. CEA complements seasonal field crops by using greenhouses with innovative glazing, lighting, and heating systems to enable the year-round production of vegetables. Our group is working with the Scottish Agricultural Organisation Society to explore the feasibility of a 1-hectare CEA system near Inverness and up to 6 quarter-hectare satellite systems throughout the Highlands. We will examine the integration of food production, processing, marketing and sales with a view to adding value and creating skilled full-time jobs. Controlled environment agriculture in Scotland will, of course, need the development of horticulture courses that include this high-tech sector. We believe that a CEA enterprise in Highland, along with Highland Good Food Partnership's other initiatives, will improve people's health and well-being, help build resilient communities, educate young people about sustainability, and make a positive contribution to the climate emergency.
Hi, I'm Tanya Aliod, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the vision for our project and also what we've done so far. The vision is in 2 parts, and it's very straightforward. The first part is to reduce the amount of food waste that we actually produce in Highland as communities and as businesses. And the second part is to view food waste not as a waste material, but as a resource that we can use to make other things like compost or animal feed. So we're not putting stuff into landfill. Food is something that we all connect with every day, which means it's something that we can influence at an individual level. It may surprise you to know that 1/3 of all food produced globally ends up being wasted. So that's an area under production that's greater than the size of China. The other thing about food waste is that in the UK, most food waste is generated in the domestic home environment. And in Highland specifically, every household generates 3 kilograms of food waste weekly. That's 1/3 of what goes into your residual bin. So we believe that tackling food waste, which contributes to about 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, is a good place to start that we can all get involved with. Well, most importantly, we've started the conversation. We want everybody to start having a conversation, whether that's around your kitchen table, your school classroom, or your business, or when you're out eating in a restaurant. Start the conversation. What happens to the food waste once it goes in your residual bin? We've actually managed to bring together some key organisations, including the Highland Council, Highlands and Islands Enterprise, the Cairngorms National Park, and we're now collaborating to address the issue and try and find solutions that will provide an opportunity for everyone to have a better Highland economy and get food waste tackled. So let's get it sorted.
Hi, my name is Martin Shering. I'm one of the co-founders of the Highland Good Food Partnership. I hope it's clear from what you've just seen and heard that we can't tackle climate change without a radically different approach to food. But it isn't just climate change we're concerned about. We also have crises in biodiversity and health, which are largely driven by the food we eat and the way it's produced. But in amongst all this gloom and doom, we also have some pioneering examples of fantastic practice in the Highlands, from therapeutic growing schemes at Raigmore to crofters and smallholders feeding hundreds of families from tiny areas. We have farmers adopting mob grazing and agroforestry to reverse wildlife loss and store carbon in their soil, and we have community schemes helping people take the first steps to grow their own, teaching them how to cook their own, and sharing out food that would otherwise have gone to waste. What we're doing is making the links between these inspiring examples, supporting others to follow their examples, and working with Highland Council and other organisations to reshape the Highland food system so these pioneers become the norm rather than the exception. If you want to join us, check our website, highlandgoodfood.scot.